Good evening, and welcome to the Petersburg By Night podcast network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, Rage Across Tampa.
Welcome to another St. By Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Twitch channel where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Michikent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller for St. Pete by Night and the storyteller for Rage Across Tampa, which is our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition Chronicle that you are watching right now here tonight as we show up almost every Tuesday night, and we're happy to have you here. Obviously, we have seen a lot of changes happen, and this is season 2 of Rage Across Tampa, which means that we've seen the dismissal or the leaving of one pack member and the full-time addition of another. What kind of changes that will bring, what kind of chaos that will bring is yet to be seen. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed down below. And if you're interested in playing Vampire the Masquerade or Hunter the Reckoning or Werewolf the Apocalypse, you should join us on the St. Pete by Night Discord server where we play many, many games and we have many, many more on the way. And if you're not familiar with the system, well, don't worry. We're here to teach you. So you can join us following the Discord link in the description down below. Now, of course, I could do this by myself, but it'd really just be me narrating to you, and that's not any fun for anyone. No, I have the distinct privilege and honor of having some of the most talented, wonderful, incredible players I've ever had the chance to play with. So let's take a moment to introduce those players right now. Players, say hello. Introduce yourselves.
Hello. My name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Arun of the Galestalkers.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne. You can call me Pookie because I hack to a spit on that thing. Or, whatever you want to call me. I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Philodox of the Silver Fangs.
Hello, everybody. I am Noree. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Last week was all about discovery amongst the pack. Lucas discovered that a part of his past had followed him all the way down from Chicago to his new home in Tampa. Aspen got to know Lucas a little better, although there's still much to be uncovered in that respect. Jester got to discover that the past also follows her, but maybe not in the way it used to be. Apologies were given, forgiveness was given, and she learned that she's a little bit more connected to Ryder than she could have ever thought, and that she is starting to adopt some of the qualities of what made Ryder Ryder. Now, if that's for good or for bad, we'll have to see. And Aiden discovered a little bit more about the Tampa kindred as he went to investigate 100 North Tampa, the largest and tallest building in downtown Tampa. And he met an unusual acquaintance along the way, one who may provide some insight, one who might provide some distraction, or one who just might sow some chaos further amongst the group. But again, that's all to be determined. Today, we find ourselves starting our story at the cairn of this particular pack and the birthplace or the rebirth of the Sept of the Weeping Willow. As the pack of the Evening Star gathers together within the Memorial Gardens, a fancy cemetery, to put it nicely, that they have called their home. The sound of fireworks can be heard occasionally bursting throughout the night sky, crackling amidst the darkness in an array of colors and sparks. Even though it's days before the 4th of July, people in Florida start to celebrate early, and they will not be deterred because of what day of the year it is. The heat has been oppressive during the days, but not nearly as oppressive as the heat wave that has been swarming its way across the Midwest and throughout most of the country. The breeze off of the bay and the Gulf has provided a great deal of relief, while others don't have such a luxury. So as we meet on this evening, night has just fallen, because it's easier to meet in the evening when it starts to cool down than during the day when the sun beats down heavily upon all present. You're all gathered by the memorial buildings in a meeting hall that has been cleaned up, rebuilt, more established, remnants of the old sept that's gone away long before, that was repurposed as storage for a great long time, a place where manicuring equipment for the lawns outside was usually stashed away. It's now been cleared out and made into the meeting hall it once was and will be once again. Here we find Aspen, Aiden, Jester, and Lucas really gathering together as a group for the first time in over a month. The scene is yours.
So, welcome everyone. I know it's been a little while since we've all gotten together. I hope everybody's been doing okay and having good goodbyes, I guess, as good as they could be. But we got to get back into it because the cairn ain't gonna take care of itself, and we've got other issues we've got to take care of and start making decisions on. So, how is everyone?
Can't complain.
It's hot.
Yeah, I'd say you get used to it, but you don't.
No, I don't see how you can get used to this. This is awful.
It's not so
Overall,
bad. Artie speaks up. It's nothing different than, I mean, actually, I would say it's a lot cooler than it could be. Wait until August. You're going to be in for a treat then.
Says the only native Floridian in the room.
Then I would know, wouldn't I?
I'll take the lake effect any day over this.
overall, I'm doing fine though.
Well, good. I'm glad everybody's been doing okay besides the heat. It is only going to get worse. But we had a couple of things we wanted to discuss. Aiden, I had you take care of something for me, and I would like to know how that went.
Yeah, I went and looked at the overall building. A lot of people. Like, well, I went during the day. I sent you that text, but the uh people there are just I don't know, focused on moving around. Not a whole lot of tourists. Um, but the building itself is large. But um, went inside. A lot of cameras, at least watching the front. But the building's taller than there are elevator floors that it goes to. So there's something weird about that. Um, Pretty good overall security. From what I could tell, there's a lot of monitors going on. Um, oh, also I met a magician. He's wearing all black. Then he'll pull out of his pocket a little tiny piece of paper. He gave me a piece of candy. I haven't ate it yet, but it's got this weird gel on it. Um,
Can I see that, Aiden?
it's mine.
Oh, can I look at it?
Aiden, give
Yeah.
Jester. Thank you.
Oh, I'll take it. Is this what I think it is, Kent?
Oh, most definitely.
Hey, Aiden, remember
Mhm.
when Aspen said that you shouldn't do drugs?
Yeah, no more of Artie's leaves.
This is a different type of drug.
That's not a leaf.
No, but it's a different type of drug.
It's way worse than a leaf, bud.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
depends on your perspective. Some of us think those are more fun, but others would say that it's worse, yes.
It'll make you see things that aren't really there.
so like what Joseph and Eliza give me.
Well, the things you see then may actually be there. This will just make you see things that really aren't there.
It's closer to what Grandmother Willow does.
Oh, I don't like that. That's not fun. I get yelled at.
That's why you don't take Grandmother Willow's stuff.
I have no choice, man.
Well, all right, fair.
She literally drops it into your hand. You tell her no and see how that goes.
No, I don't go near her if I can avoid it.
But the okay, fine. I won't take paper stuff. But he was also this guy, the magician, was standing out front of the building, and he was looking at it. But he'll reach into his other pocket. He gave me his phone number. He said to call him Spud. He'll hand it over to Artie. To figure you, I don't know, you look things up.
Yeah, give me a second. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out his cell phone, starts typing on it, and studying the note, the post-it note, and typing on his phone.
Spud like a potato.
I guess
Was it day or night when you talked to this guy?
it was day. I didn't want to go at night just in case.
Potato.
Smart. Are you sure it wasn't just a crazy homeless person?
I've ran into a few crazy homeless people. This guy didn't really seem like that.
A man dressed in all black that looked like a magician, and goes by Potato.
Right.
Oh. So I'm on this social media site that's kind of for the area, and there is someone that seems to promote wave the paper around these types of things that also has hashtags potato related and sometimes calls himself a magician.
There's a social media for what now?
For the local area, I think.
Yeah, it's
It's
this underground social media called Blood Bank with clever
pretty-
spelling.
it's pretty toxic, honestly. I think
Then
all they ever do is insult each other on there.
It's social media, so that there's zero surprise there.
But it's like times 100.
Sounds like my kind of place.
A lot of Bible verses too.
Definitely not my kind of place.
So what did the spud want? Let's start there.
Well, at first I was looking at the building trying to figure out the overall outside of it, and then he was standing on the corner kind of looking up. He then I was being just part of the people, but I guess I kind of stand out. So he started moving down an alleyway, and then he started running. So I chased him a little bit. Dude, slow, really slow. So I caught him, and then we had a conversation. I was what's the word you use? Coordinated, cordial about it. And he then asked what my name was, so I told him, and then he told me his name. And then he asked why I was here, so I told him I really like buildings, and this is the biggest building in the area, so I wanted to see it. Then he asked me to go inside, so that's when I made my way in. Found out that there's a lot of the cameras, the monitors, and that there are more floors than there are actual floors. Went back outside. Magician Spud was still there. He asked me some questions. I didn't tell him all of it. And then he gave me his phone number.
Okay. I'm not sure how to place relevance on this, but what kind of questions was he asking? Did he seem suspicious? Well, besides, being a magician and going by the name Spud.
Kinda. He said he was really into art, like really into art, and that almost like a score needed to be settled. Someone did something. So, he said that we might be able to work together. I don't know.
Already looks up from his cell phone. Looks like it's a burner number. No names come up on the reverse phone lookup registry or anything like that. But that's not that unusual, especially amongst a lot of
Drug dealers.
Well, yeah, and the other ne'er-do-wells in the city are those who don't have the resources to get on a phone plan or anything.
Aiden, you said you went in there. There were a lot of cameras.
Yeah.
Did you cover any part of your face when you went in there?
I figured that would be kind of look funny if I did that.
A surgical mask doesn't really. It's not really super out of place. I've got a trick. We could do a trick on this later. We'll deal with this at another point.
Well, I don't think I'm in anything. Like I can't really be found. I'm wolf-born. So like
that can be
all the
suspicious in its own right, though, bud. That's something we might want to look into taking care of, getting you in, even if it's a fake name or something, getting you in some databases, because that'll stand out, especially if we're dealing with leeches and the like. They have the resources to find out that kind of stuff, I guess. And so people with no identity, no trace, just showing up, could potentially raise some flags. Now, I don't think there should be any issues on this particular instance, but in the future, I mean, they probably catalog everyone that goes in there.
Yeah, I didn't talk to anyone or anything. I just kind of looked around, and walked out.
Can we go back to the floors thing?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So outside, there are a lot of floors, but when you go inside, the amount on this board, there's where each floor kind of takes you to, but there are more window levels outside than levels listed for where the elevator would take you. Like those numbers, I'm not great at that kind of stuff, but that doesn't line up.
So there's more floors than accounted for within their
Right.
listings.
Yeah, there was a one new place that had just gone in. Some art thing, I think, was the newest one that had just gone in. I don't remember the name of it, but there where the building maintenance was up towards the top, art, and then there was one more that was the top three, but even those three aren't at the top.
Do you know what the art place was called?
Can I do a roll? Because I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, go ahead. Roll me a intelligence and investigation.
Hey, okay.
See if you can do the memory recall on that.
4.
4 successes. So it was called Galleria Art Trading Incorporated. That doesn't sound like a made-up name at all.
No. It was called the Galleria Art Trading thing, Inc.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else that felt out of place? Anything that you saw? Anything that would have been something of interest?
Other than the weird magician guy, and then the floors not lining up, it seemed like a regular kind of kind of like the same overall feeling of when I'd come see you at your place. People just kind of doing their job. No one really kind of stood out, other than there was a higher number of cameras. Like a lot of watching the door, and then towards the elevators.
I can't say that's overly surprising, especially in the downtown area, and if it's a high-end business place, they probably have a lot of unhoused individuals who might make their way in. It would make sense. It's one of the selling points of leasing an office there, but could be used in other ways as well.
Yeah. Question. As far as um this Spud magician guy goes, do you want me to follow this and see where this goes, or do you want me to just kind of leave him out of it?
I think it would be advantageous if you and I take a trip downtown soon and see what we see.
Okay.
Maybe we'll take Artie with us since he's got his own set of skills that might help.
Also know the downtown area pretty well. So if we needed to get lost, so to speak, I know some ways.
Burgers?
There's some burger joints down there.
All right.
Yeah. A little more fancy, but we could definitely make it work.
Cool.
This has been an amazingly fascinating debrief. Aspen, if I could ask why? Been scoping out buildings.
Yes. Okay. So we were looking into the Bateman and Co. situation. Bateman, we have a very strong inkling, is a leech because they have found their way into manipulating my mind and possibly some of Jester's friends' minds. There's the potential for that. And we wanted to learn more about the leeches within the city, which brings me to my next point. Well, kind of two-parter next point. To the rest of the pack, Lucas is going to be staying, and he's going to be around, and he is a part of our pack now, so treat him as such, please.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome, Lucas.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
You settling in well, finding a place? I know you came quite a distance to be here.
Yeah, I got a place. Some friends that I made in the meantime hooked me up with a place. It's not much, but it'll work.
And what about a job? Get a job, source of income? I mean, the pack's great, but the pay is terrible.
You're not wrong. I've had better jobs. I self-employed, I think is the right answer. Um, uh, I grow rare and exotic plants and I sell them. And at the moment, I'm cultivating a crop of saffron that I'm going to harvest, break down, and sell as a spice.
Sure, there's a huge market for that down here.
What?
He's growing plants, legal plants, to then sell, is what he's doing. So that's his form of income,
Okay.
which is great.
How about
Very
Anyways.
green job.
How about you, Jester? How's it going?
It's
Haven't
okay.
seen you in a bit.
I've been around. Mostly working at the cairn.
Did you ride a motorcycle here?
Yeah.
That's a change.
Suppose it is.
Are you doing like a midlife crisis thing? Because you're too young for that.
Am I?
Yeah. Come on,
What
you're
about
still
just a life crisis?
never too young for that, I suppose.
We have those at least once a week, it seems like. So that's pretty on par. Also, I'll spare you the statistics of motorcycle accidents and the dangers in that. Just be safe, okay?
Okay.
But that did bring me to a point that I really wanted to get to. Artie has brought some interesting new developments to me, some information about Bloody Mary. Artie, if you want to explain your findings within that.
Yeah, so as we're settling in, I've been kind of trying to think of a threat assessment of sorts. It seemed like creating the cairn was going to be the hard part, but as we heard from many individuals, keeping it is even more difficult. Yes, it was quite an effort to overcome some of the process of the cairn building, but the leeches are still a threat. And if we know anything from Jester's experience and from what happened to Ryder, we could potentially have some pretty powerful leeches on our hands. So, using the description Jester gave from her visions and her own experience within the prison, I started using some of my abilities to try and track down anybody that could be suspicious, anybody that could be considered a threat, and more particularly the one that was referred to as Bloody Mary, the one who was believed to have been responsible for the sept falling in the first place a decade ago. Well, funny enough, I got some hits, and on some security feeds, some traffic cams, I was able to determine that this Bloody Mary person is indeed real and not just a boogeyman that we've been being told stories about ever since we arrived here, but is very much involved with some of the activities going on at the building you went and looked at, Aiden. I've got pictures of her entering and exiting, of course, always at night, nothing surprising there. But she seems to have a very strong presence, and she doesn't seem like the type who would be doing any high-class business in the area. So we can guess, most assuredly, that there is a strong connection to Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman, the law firm. She's easy to underestimate. She doesn't have a very big stature. She doesn't have an imposing presence when you first look upon her, but it seems like she can pack a punch. And I'm sure if Ryder were here, he would attest to that. So while it seems like it's something that a pack of Garus should have no trouble with, we all know that Ryder was stronger than the rest of us, possibly even combined, and he didn't survive an encounter with her. So we need to know who she's involved with, who she works with, where her strength comes from, not just her physical strength, but whatever kind of power she wields, what kind of resources she has, how well connected she is. And if I had to guess, she's our next target, or perhaps our first target. She's the biggest threat to us currently in terms of might. Yes, Bateman poses threats through the system, which are its own problem and something that we need to keep our eye on and keep a watch out for. But in terms of strength and force, I believe there's no one stronger or more dangerous than Mary, and that we need to take her off the board as quickly as possible. I think we need to make a move, honestly. And I don't think we can wait too long on it. We should do our due diligence, of course, research. I'm all for caution and not just throwing caution to the wind, but we need to take her out soon, because if she learns of us and if she tries to make a play at us, I don't think we're in a position to defend against something like that if she's prepared. We have to catch her off guard. We can't let her get the drop on us.
Do we have reason to believe that she would actively be seeking us specifically out?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any other way to take her out besides physically?
Well, I mean, we could try, but I don't know if we're as well connected as they are. And I think any kind of trouble that we caused her through official means could probably be undone. I mean, our own experiences with Bateman showed that he can easily manipulate situations. What he did to Maya, what he did to the others, how quickly the jailbreak was covered up. They have the media, they probably have the government. He got himself put into a government assigned position with relative ease after the energy plant. I think he could make any trouble on that front disappear. And I know it's silly, but if there's anything I've learned from media about leeches, they can just disappear and start over again. Or they can wait. They have time, we don't.
She was at the prison before the alarms went off. Just wandering the halls. Because Ryder was the one that hit the alarms. Also, she was able to withstand the sun for 3 days while fighting Ryder.
Yep.
So that takes out another advantage.
I mean, she was on fire, but it really didn't affect her. Didn't seem to. Didn't weaken her. They fought for 3 days straight.
So she also has stamina. So the best thing to do is to catch her off guard, take out as many of her advantages as possible, and just continue to thrash her until there's nothing left. Now, if I know that story, that was like a decade ago, so maybe Ryder was a little weaker then than he was recently, or maybe he was at his peak, and that's still what happened. But if it was just Ryder fighting her, we have the advantage of numbers, but I don't know if we can account for the strength he had. I think it would be helpful to find out if she has any weaknesses. From what I've learned, the leeches have a variety of vulnerabilities. I mean, all of them are vulnerable to the sun and to fire, but there are some of the more folklorish methods that still work, just not reliably. If we can find out if she has any of those would be good to know.
Well, as far as I know, stakes always an option, although it doesn't kill. I've got some experience from teachings in Chicago. We have a lot of issues with leeches up there.
I mean, Ryder was able to cut her arm off, but it felt like he was empowered by his previous pack.
I think it's a couple fold. I think we need to find her weaknesses, know what her weaknesses are, so we're prepared for those. Also, any strikes that happen will be probably during the day, because even though she can withstand it, it sounds like, based off of what I know, that it's still a weakness of hers. We need to continue to train and get stronger if this is something we are going to pursue. And we really just need to be on the offensive. We need to find out where she is, what her habits are, and where the best way to strike is and when.
I agree, and from Ryder's memories, the 3 times that he fought her, she was always the one that chose the time and place. She was the one that attacked.
But don't let her pick the battlefield.
That
Another
also comes down to knowing where she is at any given time. And
If we
I tried to track her on one of her particular outings, and I lost her fairly quickly. She knows this city as well, if not better, than I have. Now, of course, she's probably had more time to get to know it than I ever did, but I don't know where she starts her night from, so to speak. I don't know where she emerges from. I don't know where she calls home. When I would get these images of her, especially around 100 North Tampa, it was usually well into the evening, but a good bit before sunrise.
if you
But-
can
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you can find something of hers, one of the things I can do is I'm a good tracker. If you can get me even something small, I might be able to. We know a overall area. I might be able to shrink that down, make your search a little bit easier. I just need something to pick up on a scent.
Aiden's absolutely right. Like, we can't forget what we are. We're hunters. She has to do one thing, and she has to do that one thing all the time. She has to eat. She eats somewhere. And she has a very restrictive diet as opposed to other animals. Now, usually a hunter goes back to the same hunting grounds over and over again. We find where she sleeps, we find where she eats.
That does bring up another issue, though. Jester knowing of the cairn and her being there, then she knows that it exists. And if she doesn't know that we've fixed it up, then she's going to probably very soon.
What about the Umbra? Or Eliza mentioned using spirits against them. Do you think we could use spirits to track her?
We could. I don't know a great deal about that spiritual stuff, but I know that that is the Weaver's playground. Downtown is where the Weaver thrives. I mean, we all saw it while we were looking for the tier. That place is ripe with Weaver spirits and Weaver constructs, and the gauntlet has to be fairly thick down there, if I were to guess. Now, there are some options still. You know, some spirits who work hand in hand with the Weaver that could potentially be coerced into cooperating. But they're going to want something. You know, the spirits around here aren't all our friends. We've gotten lucky that we've had a few good-willed, good-natured ones, but we have to remember this place has been abandoned by the Guru for the most part for a really, really long time. And a lot of them aren't going to be as friendly as Star or even Grandmother Willow, even when she was at her worst.
That
Do you
is
think
true. Go ahead.
do you think Regina could help with that?
She could. I'd be lying if I said that I'm eager to put her in harm's way, but she has a lot to offer.
I don't mean tracking necessarily, just maybe communicating with the other spirits, the Weaver spirits.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question for Eliza. Jester, if you could talk to Eliza, I know she likes you best since Joseph has gone away. She's our biggest asset when it comes to the spirits. So if you wanted to, get with her, check in with her, and ask her some questions about that, that might help us make a decision as far as that goes.
I can, yeah.
Perfect.
What if-
Thank you.
What about grabbing a leech, interrogating it, getting some information out of it? Where do they gather? Where do they hang out?
Still about finding one, number one. Number two, we had one, and it may do more bad than good in that respect. It would let them know that we're actively hunting them, which could put us at a disadvantage if it ever comes out on that side.
If they found out.
If is a big if, but it's still something we have to consider.
Fair.
I'll look to Artie. What about that information I found in the warehouse that Ryder had been looking into?
There are those possibilities. The feeding banks or their places of doing business. I can't say that they'd still be active, especially considering what happened at the energy plant and the fact that we didn't really move on them expediently, but also leeches are creatures of habit. Especially the older ones, they don't like change. They prefer things to be set for good long periods of time. I don't think they're the kind to rapidly move between methods of doing things, routines. So it wouldn't hurt to look into some of those, and if nothing else, taking out more of their resources, more of their food banks or their businesses could be beneficial in the long term, but it also could draw a lot of attention. And the other thing that we can't dismiss is the Fenris. They are out there and they are fulfilling their own motivations and their own goals, and we don't even know what those are. And they could be aligned with ours, they could be contrary to ours, but whatever they do is also going to draw attention, and I don't think the leeches are going to hold biases based off of tribe or belief system. I think anything any guru does in the area is going to potentially be a threat to us in the long term, or at least get their attention enough to start looking.
There's at least 5 of them.
It's another thing I wanted to speak about. Thank you, Artie. What do we want to do about them? Now that the cairn is built, I see them as a bigger and bigger problem as we move forward. What do we want to do? Suggestions.
They're only going to respect one thing: dominance. That's it. They're not going to. I mean, you just think of what they're after. They don't care about negotiation. Why would they? What's the motivation behind that? There's none.
Have you had experience with them before?
I know of them, but I understand the mindset. I understand the anything goes mindset. Trust me. I do. Find who's in charge of them.
I think it wouldn't hurt to know what they want. Why here? Why now? What's so important about this place? I mean, Florida is one of the biggest states in the country. Why here? And why specifically now? Why Tampa? If they're just looking for a place to call home, there were plenty of, there's anywhere inland would be rather devoid of leeches, but there's some sort of investment in this place. If we can figure out what they want, maybe they could be useful rather than opposing. And I'm not saying we need to make best friends with them, anything but. They don't follow the laws, they don't follow the litany, and they don't act subtly. But as much as I cautioned about them drawing attention, maybe them drawing attention wouldn't be a terrible thing, because maybe it'll draw that attention away from here. If we know what they want and we can somehow influence the direction they're pointing themselves, that could actually help us. Guru or Guru, and I'm not a fan of seeing any Guru destroyed, maybe even the misguided ones.
They made their choice.
Aiden.
Yeah.
Get a hold of Terrence. Find out what Kyle has ever said, even if it's just subtly. Figure out what he knows as far as that goes. And maybe it's something we have to buck up and have a conversation with them about. With the Colts face to face.
I can do that. I don't know if he'll be able really to give too much information, but I can see what I can get from him.
I figured they put Kyle around Terrence, then maybe he was trying to influence him in some way. And if that's the case, there is probably something.
Yeah, I can give him a call.
And to address your point, Lucas, you're right, they did make their choice. So did the Stargazers. And Eliza's been a bigger help to us than... I don't think we could have done this without her. And the nation would have them disavowed, ignored, cast aside. So, while the choices aren't always right, that doesn't mean there isn't something to be gained from it.
Well, I'm not saying it was a good or a bad choice. Their choice, we give them exactly what they want. Sure, we can see if our goals align, or we could just use them as a cover for our own operations. They would enjoy the fight. If we blame them, the leeches go after them, takes the heat off us and gives them exactly what they want. Both sides, as a matter of fact. Just a suggestion.
I think my only other concern is if they get a hold of one of them, or any of us, they can learn about us. They can coerce us. We saw what happened to Joseph in the jail. They can do things to us that I know I wouldn't want to be privy to by any means. So even if it's a Fenris or it's one of us, if they find out more about us, they will know how to hurt us more. And they're already doing a pretty damn good job about that, if the past is any indication.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That might be the point we're at right now.
If we can find a temporary way to coexist, then at least both of us are targeted on the right thing rather than each other. Until that threat is taken care of, then inevitably they'll turn their sights on us, and as long as we know that going into this, we won't be caught on the wrong foot. But they want, from all the reading I've done, from all the talking to Eliza I've done, they want the same thing. They want to save Gaia. They just won't let anything get in their way. Like Ryder at his worst. They won't let anything get in their way to accomplishing that goal. They don't believe in the litany and the laws. They believe in getting the job done.
in the brief conversation I had with Kyle, he was all too happy to destroy some humans. For what he thought, we were talking about the wolves being trapped and things like that, so he was all too happy to destroy some humans for that. Didn't seem particularly to care who they were or how involved they were.
Can't forget the human aspect of all this either. Like I've always been kind of keeping an eye on the area ever since my change, and I've heard some disturbing things from across the bay. You know, people being scared to go out of their houses, police being in higher force. The humans, they aren't the villains here. They aren't the enemy here, but they also aren't necessarily our friends either.
If it comes down to us having to take on the cult, we know that there's 5 of us and at least 5 of them, 3 of which are most likely younger Guru, who wouldn't be too hard to apprehend or at least stop. The other ones, um, the one that was holding that book with the yellow eyes, there's something about that one that seemed stronger than the rest. So if we were to do something, we're going to need to act faster than they can learn how to be a true guru. So I can call Terrence and find out, but we're going to have to act quickly with them, either talk to them, find out what they want, or get them under heel. Those are the only choices I'm seeing.
Exactly, 100%. But I do want the information from Terrence, so I know what we're kind of getting into. The more we know, the better we can negotiate. But I want everybody's suggestion. Do we want to go in and talk to them and work with them? Or are we just going to go in and figure out what they want and go from there?
I'm always a fan of more information, but also it could just be a trap. We could just be walking into a trap by even offering the opportunity to meet with them. If that is the path we were going to choose, we would have to set the terms and make it a place that we know and are confident in. Because again, we don't know what they've been up to. They haven't been distracted like we have. They haven't had, at least as far as I can tell, as many bumps in the road as we have. So they could be very familiar with their surroundings and they could be very invested. I mean, again, there's something about this place that was important to them. That's why they're here. Why not Miami? Why not Orlando? Jacksonville? Anywhere? Why here? There's something that's making them want to be here.
Aiden. Oh, go ahead.
Aiden, do you know if they have any claves?
Not that I saw. The ones I saw were in their Glabro form out front of a trailer. Other 2 were in the Umbra. The one with the yellow eyes I didn't see at all.
So assuming maybe 1, maybe 2.
Maybe at least 1 I'm going to assume.
Maybe 2 to R2.
Yeah.
That's a distinct advantage. Whether they know how to use them well, that's the question. So if my vote is what my vote is, I'll walk into the track and take our odds.
Jester's not swinging theirs like a tennis racket anymore, so that's positive.
Well, that brings me to you and Jester. I think your guys' decisions are the most important because you're the strongest of us all. So if it comes to that, you guys would be taking head on that.
You know that I'm always ready for a fight. I don't really care where. But you wanted me to have Terrence get information. You're the more, you're the smarter one about this kind of stuff. You just kind of point me in the direction. I'll go that way. If you think that getting more information and being nice about this is the best route, I'll support what you're thinking. But also, I'll be ready the entire time. I got you guys.
We can't take Mary where we are now. I think even if we ambushed her, we couldn't. Having another possible enemy would split our attention. And I think she'd take advantage of it. So maybe go in with the idea of either using them or having some sort of treaty would be best.
I think we should also see what we have on our side as far as advantages. I know that Aspen's friend is still in town, and there was an arrangement made there of some kind. Maybe they have some insight or something to offer still. They want something, there's no doubt about that. That's why they're still here, but maybe they can provide something in exchange. Or maybe they at least can give us some knowledge we don't have. I love using Eliza and working with Eliza, but she has a very limited scope of someone who's just kind of been here and seen the stargazer side of things. Another more elder guru, very elder, so elder guru, would be maybe have some insight of their own, especially one deep embedded within the nation.
I agree. I think right now it comes down to getting information and getting allies in whatever way that needs to be done. So, next steps, Aiden needs to talk to Terrence. Jester, I'd like you to talk to Eliza. We are all as a pack going to talk to the cult after we get the information we need, because none of us are going in there alone. And get more information on Bloody Mary as a whole and start picking on those little pieces of information we have, as small as they are.
Seeing how strong she is, I'm going to start looking through some historical records, old newspapers, You don't get that strong without being around a while, and you don't get that familiar with the city without being around a while. I'm going to see if I can pick up any leads on her past and see if we can find out anything. I'm not going to trust the name to just come up on a Google search, but if I can find her face somewhere, even in the background of something in history, that could at least tell us maybe some of what she's done or what her motivations are. It would be really nice to have somebody on the inside, somebody who knows their ways, but we'll work with what we got for now.
Right. And Jester, if you're okay with it, working with Lucas more so you can get better with that clave.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Did I mention how elder he was? Like really old.
Got those wrinkles.
Ugh.
Everywhere.
Like a fine wine. Yes.
Wine doesn't wrinkle, it ripples.
No, yeah, that's.
Do you have a problem with old people, Artie?
Just one.
Okay.
That
For
weird
now.
guy at the corner by your apartment,
Yeah,
right? The one
yeah,
who's always
that
standing
guy.
there.
Oh my god, saying get
Yeah.
off of your lawn, and it's an apartment complex, so it's kind of everybody. It's like a communal lawn.
Kind of nuts.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, so Okay, so Aspen, Aiden, we'll head downtown, take Regina downtown, take a look around, see what we see, and then, yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. Let's do it. So as the
Go
pack
team.
starts to discover more about one another, they also start to discover more about their threats. And there are many, many threats to be had. So as we transition, we find ourselves downtown. Aiden, Aspen, where are we going and what are we looking for?
Aspen would like to go back around to the big building, as Aiden would put it. Just kind of keep an eye out, see what we can make out as far as the outside of it. See if we see that weird spud magician. Just kind of taking in all the information, seeing what we can find. As far as that goes, within reason, because Aspen is not somebody who can just sneak around and not be seen.
So as you head downtown, the engine of Regina purring, already behind the wheel, steering through the hazardous Florida traffic, going deeper and deeper into the city. The buildings around you grow taller and taller the closer to downtown you get. They go from mid-sized office buildings to skyscrapers as you enter into the downtown area. You feel a lot of feelings come over you. Aiden, you remember the last time you were down here and just how massive and overwhelming the structures were. The sounds of the city still very unfamiliar to you as you are born from a place of remote wilderness, a different din, a different soundtrack in your ears. Whereas this, you can smell the smog emanating from the various buildings and vehicles that move about the city. You can hear the people talking in almost a cacophonous echo throughout the streets. It's an assault to the senses. Aspen, you remember what it was to be a cog in the machine of the city. A lawyer in a modest downtown law firm who now finds herself unemployed, but working to make that change. But you remember what it was to be in the city, what it was to be a part of all of this. And both of you can't help but remember the ice rink, the Amelie Arena. What it was to see this place from the other side, crawling with spiders, a massive spider up in the clouds above, seeming to extend its legs down into the skyscrapers that surround you just now. It's not quite an umbral vision, more a memory placed over reality that helps you see both pictures, both sides, all at once. And it is a harrowing vision, to be sure. There's no way to look on this area the same ever again, not with the innocence of one who doesn't know what the other side holds. So as these thoughts, as these visions, as these memories hold you enraptured, before you know it, you're downtown, finding a parking spot in one of the many massive parking lot structures, as there's not a lot of street parking to be had, especially during the day, which is the time we find ourselves arriving in the downtown area. The bustle and hustle of the city all around can be felt. We're going into a holiday weekend, but a holiday weekend doesn't stop the activity of the city. In fact, if anything else, it increases it. With 4th of July just around the corner, you can tell that they're setting up for a big celebration in the downtown area, a big fireworks display to take place over the bay itself. But as you do squeeze Regina into one of the parking spots in a very crowded parking garage, you climb out of the vehicle, and for now, the scene is yours.
Too many people here.
Yeah, that's what it's like to be within the city. You've seen it, you know.
Yeah, but there's a lot. Like, too many.
Well, it'll help you blend in.
Sure.
Couple of things.
Yeah.
We're not taking things from strangers while we're out here.
I thought it was nice to take gifts from people. I thought it was rude to refuse them.
No, the first rule when you go out on your own, don't take things from strangers. Don't talk to strangers mostly, but I understand that we have to talk to strangers a little bit, but don't take things from strangers.
All right. Well, to say something different, in a way, a stranger once gave me his lunch because I beat him. He'll look over to Artie. So a stranger gave me something that I enjoyed.
Yeah, gave was the word I was thinking, not, oh fuck, I'm hungry and now bruised.
Yeah. Same story.
Yep, same story. That's how I think of it and remember it. How generous of me. Aspen's right. Don't take anything from strangers, especially down here. Like, fun in games are fun in games, but you know I would never do anything to hurt you. Nothing that I didn't think we could handle, and I would get a tongue lashing from Aspen later. But down here, to put it as mildly as possible, nobody cares about you except us down here. Everyone out here is selfish and self-motivated, and they want something. And if you're the means to getting that thing, whether it's money, whether it's influence, whether it's protection, or whether it's just to let off some well-earned aggression, they don't care what happens to you. But they don't know any better. It's not their fault. That's what being a human in a big city is like. You have to look out for yourself. You have to fight for every inch, for every meal, and not necessarily, fists. But you got to constantly be clawing to have a place there, because the city will swallow you up and spit you out and forget you. That's the danger of the Weaver and the Worm and their combined forces when they do work together. So just do what you do, man, and survive. You got this.
All right. Won't take things from strangers.
Also, we're going to have a PowerPoint presentation of the different drugs, what they look like, so we don't have this happen again. Yes?
Yep.
I don't think he knows what a PowerPoint presentation is.
I did it. I PowerPoint.
He does know because he's seen them before. He may not know what they're called, but he knows that they're boring and really long, and he hates them.
He literally
talking about the
just
thing
pointed at you. That's what he thought that meant. He thought you just did it.
The thing with the images, and you talk and you practice.
Okay.
Why?
Because that's what you need.
Fine.
You make your way over to one of the elevators, pressing the down button before climbing in, the whirring of the elevator with a gentle shake every now and then, taking you from one of the higher floors of the structure down to the ground level, where the doors open and take you out onto the busy downtown street across from 100 North Tampa, this massive skyscraper that reaches claws towards the sky higher than all the others, but also looks down in judgment on any of the buildings that would deign to think that they could stand in the majesty of such a structure. It is imposing. It is intimidating. But it's just a building. Or so you would hope. You may continue.
Aiden will kind of point. So those last few there, those ones aren't listed.
Okay. And where exactly were you with this other character?
Met him on that corner, and then he went down that alleyway, and then towards the almost the end of it is where we had our conversation. But he was standing at that corner looking up at the building.
Okay. What if you tried the number?
You want me to call him?
Just to see what happens.
Sure. Already, can I get his number?
Yeah, here. Rifles the post-it note out of his pocket and passes it to you.
Thank you. He'll put it in and give it a call.
Phone rings a couple of times. This is Spud.
Hey, it's Aiden. We met at the really big building in the alleyway.
Oh, yeah. What's up, dude?
Hey, you said to call if I needed paper.
Yeah. Did you like what you got?
I don't have it anymore.
Oh, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah, the way you made it sound seemed a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. You should have tried it. That's usually how I get people to call me back. So, if I could, I'd give you another freebie, but since it seems like you've fallen on some hard times, I could give you a discount on this one.
You talking money?
No, I'm talking handshake. Yes, I'm talking money.
I could do a handshake, but okay.
No, yes, money.
How much?
Well, like I said, I think I could give you a discount. So, $150 sound good?
He'll quickly look over at Aspen. Yep, $150 sounds great.
Cool. So where do you want to meet?
Same spot would be great.
Not a big fan of that spot right now. How about 2 blocks west of there? There's a taco stand on the street. I'll be across the street from there.
He'll look over to Aspen. All right, so 2 blocks west of here at a taco stand, and you'll be across the street. Is that where I can meet you?
Yeah, that sounds good. You sure you're not a cop? Because you talk like a cop.
I can promise you I'm not a cop.
All right.
I swear my left big toe, I'm not a cop.
See you there in about 30 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, bye.
Did he say $150?
Yeah, he said that was a discount.
He's ripping you off.
Well, apparently I can't even have it, so.
All right. Well, now what?
Am I meeting him? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'm not giving him any money though. So.
Okay, so when I talk to him, what? He's going to expect money.
I'll go with you. We'll have a conversation. It'll be fine.
Oh, good. You're talking. Thank you. Okay.
I was gonna leave you to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Though he might like you a little bit more, but
That makes sense. Not that you're not great, but
it's not really my, forte of conversation. But it'll be fine. I think for now I just want to watch a couple of people go in and out, see if there's any big people moving within the building.
Go ahead and give me a wits and awareness check.
can I help?
Yeah. So you can go ahead and add a dice to your pool from the teamwork that Aiden is providing.
Does Artie want to help me?
Sure, you can take a second die.
Three
successes. Looking over at the building, there's a pretty frequent flow of traffic in and out. I wouldn't say that it's timed or that there's anything suspicious about it, but you do see individuals walking in to the building, mostly dressed in business or business casual wear, a lot of suits, a lot of briefcases. Occasionally you'll see someone in a very nice dress or skirt making their way in and out. Business professionals going about their day. There are the doormen standing by the door who seem to be letting individuals in and out. They're dressed in very, very simple suits with a insignia of the building stitched upon the breast pocket. But the activity isn't at all suspicious. What is suspicious is as you do take the time in between individuals arriving and departing, your eyes drift upward, as Aiden had spoken about the top floors seeming unusual, to say the very least. As your eyes trace up the building, you can see that the windows of the side of the building are shaded. A lot of them kind of have a slight tint to the windows going up and up. But as you get higher, that tint seems to grow darker and darker and darker, especially near the top of the building.
Okay. With that, could I deduce anything? Because I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but within that space, could I deduce?
Considering it's a very, very tall building, it is likely going to have more sunlight than most of the other buildings in the area. A lot of the other taller buildings that surround on the blocks nearby would likely block a lot of the morning sun and the evening sun on the lower floors. Up in the higher levels, once the sun gets past a certain point, they're going to basically be getting direct sunlight all day, which could make the area very, very uncomfortable. But you can't help but think that a leech's, need to despise the sun could have something to do with it as well. That's kind of a creeping suspicion, but logically it also does make sense that the higher up, the more they're going to need shading from the sun, especially to keep the area cool and not to let the electricity bills spike out of control with air conditioning.
Okay. So she'll linger around there for a little bit and then look back to Artie and Aiden. Well, should we walk or?
Yeah.
A couple blocks by a taco stand. I could go for some tacos.
Let's call it an experience, but an entire group walking up on an individual of this stature isn't going to be received very well. Maybe the two of you. I should probably just hang back, though. If that's okay with you. I can keep an eye on the situation, but I probably shouldn't crowd this tater of an individual. Just to make the odds better of success.
That's fair. That makes sense. Honestly, if anybody was going to go, it'd probably be you and Aiden. But I get it. I'll go.
I can go if you want. I'm just trying to make sure that we can get what we need, and you seem to have a lot of questions.
Yeah. I'll go. Yeah, just keep close enough just in case anything
I won't
gets
let you
weird.
out of my sight.
Okay.
You start walking down the street, passing individuals, a lot of people panhandling or asking for change, but most people going about their day-to-day business. Several of the individuals on the street have taken refuge in, alleyways or doorways that can provide a lot of shade, especially as the sun beats down and reflecting off of all of the glass surfaces of windows and the metal of street signs. It does radiate a lot of heat off of the pavement. But you make your way past until you see, about 2 blocks west of where you parked, a taco stand. Just one of those mobile kind of push cart taco stands that seems to be set off on the sidewalk nearby. There's a man easily in his early 50s that seems to be standing over a canopy umbrella, or standing under a canopy umbrella, working at a small grill. There's fresh tortillas that are laid out. You can see a hatchback truck that is parked off on the side of the street that seems to have the logo of this particular taco stand emblazoned across the side, although a lot of the logo work has started to fade and chip away, and that it's not as visible. It's a lot very, very worn, which shows that they've been doing this for quite some time. The man in the 50s does look to be of Spanish or Latin descent, a little bit more colored on the skin, but there's also some very, very strong tan as a man who's probably been outside a great deal of many, many days servicing this particular taco stand. And you can see a couple of business suited individuals standing, waiting for their orders or preparing to order as he works diligently, but with a knowledge and practice of someone who has been doing this for quite some time. He can quickly whip through the orders and assemble the orders as he goes. There's also a younger woman that shares similar features, that seems to be managing a cash register where they're charging and taking, credit cards or cash and then passing out the food as it's done. As you approach, what are your intentions?
So first off, I'm gonna pull out $4 and hand it to Aiden. When we're done, you can get quite a bit of tacos with just $4 because it's Tuesday, so it's 2 for 1 taco day. So we actually came at a great day. But first business, then tacos.
Fine. He'll pocket the $4.
Why don't you give me the money? I'll wait in line, and then the tacos will be hot and ready for you as soon as you're done.
I like that. Yeah. He'll give him the $4.
Pull out an extra 3. Get us some tacos too.
You got it. Be careful, okay? I know that this seems simple enough, but things down here aren't simple.
Well, I'm not one to usually go talk to drug dealers, so this is all a new experience for me, but I think I'll be okay.
Just be you. You know what to do.
Okay.
Both of you give me a wits and awareness roll separately as you're both looking across the street towards the meeting location. 1 success from Aspen.
3.
3 successes. Aspen, you're scouring the other side of the street, trying to train your eyes on anything that you can. And there's a lot of people, a lot to take in, and having never encountered this particular individual before, there's nothing that really stands out. You don't have anything to anchor to. You were told that he was just all dressed in black, so there weren't any real defining features to latch to. And despite the heat, you're not seeing a lot of multicolored suits or outfits walking around. Most of the business wear in the city is pretty uniform, so it's hard for you to pick up any particular details. Aiden, as you are looking across the street, there is a small park, almost laid out like a lawn of sorts, with a couple of benches and some trees growing up that are providing some shade. And under one of the trees, you do spot the individual, who is still dressed pretty thoroughly head to toe. It looks like this time, however, they're wearing a large floppy sun hat instead of the magician's cap that they had been wearing the other day. It's just one of those large, wide-rimmed floppy hats. It's white in color. The brow and the bill of the hat seems to go almost out to their shoulders. That's how wide this particular hat is. And they're wearing a long black trench coat that they have draped over their lap, and the same long gloves that are covering their hands, and scarf pulled up over their nose and mouth. But they're sitting further to the back of the park. You can spot them between the trees and through the movement of individuals, and they are really taking a lot of refuge in the shade, trying to go, for the most part, unnoticed by anyone walking the street.
He'll kind of like bump Aspen, just like nonchalant, like that guy, big white hat.
Okay. I'll follow you.
Okay.
He's seen you, so that makes most sense.
Yeah. He'll then make his way over to Magician Spud.
As the two of you walk across the street and enter into this small lawn area, you see the individual perk up in recognition of your approach, but then cock their head slightly to the side as they see the woman walking alongside of you. And as you get closer, he speaks up. If I knew we were bringing our girlfriends, I would have brought mine.
You have a girlfriend?
I like to think so.
Not my girlfriend, but just a friend.
Just a friend, huh? She
Yep.
She dresses like some of the others down here. Are you the money bags?
You could say that. Sure.
This really feels like a cop. Every time I meet with you, it becomes more and more like I'm on a cop drama. I mean,
That
we've
would be
even
cool.
got the street and the street food right outside. All we need is like a smoking, sewer cap, and we'd be good.
Just don't look at the roof where the snipers obviously are watching you, because that would ruin the whole surprise. I said don't look.
Okay. So you got the money?
Sure. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a couple of things.
Like what?
Well, I don't know if you're usually somebody who does these kind of things out here in the open. We could go somewhere else.
Second location, huh?
Yes,
I thought
because
that
we
was.
plan
Wait,
on.
no, we're doing this whole arrangement wrong. Aren't I the one who's supposed to lure you to a second location?
Would you like to lure us to a second location? In your court, sir.
No, I've been doing this long enough. I'm fine where I am.
Okay. She'll just sit down next to him.
As you look closer, you can see that he has reached into a coat pocket and seems to be fiddling with a cigar that he's rolling between his fingers. The cigar looks like it's already been lit a couple of times and stubbed out a couple of times, but he rolls it through his fingers back and forth, kind of keeping it at the ready. So, what do you want to know?
Well, my friend Aiden, I'm Aspen, by the way. My friend Aiden explained to me that you had a particular interest in the building that you were in front of last you met.
Why do you work there?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, let's just say I'm interested in picking up some art.
So your interest lies in the new installation art company there.
Yeah, new.
It seems to be new as far as the building goes, is it not?
Just because a business changes names doesn't mean that it hasn't been the same business.
Oh, Okay, I wasn't aware of that. What was the name before?
La Rose Noire. Same
Okay.
business, different name. Probably a change in ownership.
Interesting.
Why are
Do you
you
know?
so interested in it?
Well, I have my own reasons, right? I didn't ask you why. Um, I actually particularly am interested in the law firm in that same building.
Don't want to get sued. I assume they represent all the businesses in that building. Last thing I need is a lawsuit. I don't exactly look like a man of means who can afford to pay for a lawyer, now can I?
Oh, no. But I'm actually a lawyer myself, well, working to be one. But I'm not associated with the law firm within the building there. Do you know anything in particular about the law firm there?
They don't lose.
I understand Bateman has quite a reputation within Tampa and is a fresh, bright-eyed lawyer. It would be interesting to
You
know what
hear
you know.
chuckle slightly from beneath the handkerchief that is, or the scarf that's wrapped around his mouth. That's a way to describe it.
How would you describe it?
Just because a business changes names doesn't mean it isn't the same business.
What do you mean?
He's experienced. I know that much. A seasoned veteran with a fresh face. Can I ask a question in response? I've been doing a lot of answering.
Absolutely.
What are you?
I am a lawyer, a friend of Aiden's, somebody asking questions. What in particular are you looking for?
Didn't ask what you do. I asked, what are you? You're not like all of them. You're not like me. You're different, special. I could tell the first time I met Aiden. And if we're going to just be delving into each other's business, we might as well just be honest, right? That's what lawyers are supposed to do. Be honest, right?
You
Or
haven't met
lie
the right.
professionally.
Right, exactly.
But you're not getting paid for this, so we might as well skip all the runaround.
She's going to slowly look over to Aiden.
Hey, maybe another spot wouldn't be a bad idea.
And as she slowly looks over to Aiden, she's going to try and catch Artie's eye from across the street.
Give me a manipulation and awareness check to see if you can make that look from across the street to try and lock eye contact. Because it is quite a bit of distance. There's a lot moving in between.
A 3.
He looks over and perks up.
She's gonna like dart her head back to Spud. And she's gonna look back at Spud. Well, would you care to go on a walk with us? We could stay out in the open.
I have a better idea. And he goes to reach into his coat, but then looks over at Aiden, holds his hands up, pulls open his coat and reaches in and pulls out a soda can. Shakes it a couple of times, pulls down the mask, and drinks the soda can. A few moments pass, and the din of the city disappears. You don't hear the sound of traffic. You don't hear the footsteps going across the streets. You don't even hear birds cawing overhead. He lets out a as he finishes drinking and takes the soda can and still puts it back in his pocket, even though it appears to be empty. You can speak freely. They won't hear you.
Well, I'm not somebody to give information wholly and freely. So my first question to you, before I answer that question, do you work with them in that building over there?
No. They wouldn't let me even if I wanted to. And trust me, I don't want to.
But you know of them in there?
And so do you. So, back to my question. What are you? Because I've never seen all of that before. That's new. It's different. It's exciting.
Fine. I not like them. Not particularly like any of them walking the streets, like you said.
Just like that at this time of day? No, you definitely aren't. It would be a completely different fireworks show.
We are looking over to Aiden again.
We're the other side of the struggle.
There's a lot more sides than you know.
I'm sure.
But if you're the
The
one that I'm
ones
thinking
with-
about, that is very, very interesting. I haven't met one of those since Tennessee. Huh. Little, urban for you, isn't it?
We make do.
And what are you? Because you're not like them. You're out here.
I am what I said I am. A wizard. An alchemist, really. But I know a lot about them. Could say we're distant relations. But this puts me in a really precarious position, because if they were to find out that I knew you, that would put me in even more trouble, although they'd have to find out that I'm here first, I suppose. What do you want with them? What would bring you into their area?
Curiosity.
I get that. They're dangerous, you know. Real dangerous.
Fully aware.
Not exactly a pillow over here.
No, I suppose it wouldn't be. Like I said, I met some of your cousins, I guess, and they were, yeah, weren't friendly. I even killed one. Bad one. It's not like a thing. They were trying to kill me first. It's one of those, like, you know, they try to kill you kill them right back things.
Did you provoke it?
No, it was like a trap type thing. Actually, an ambush, I guess, of sorts. They were trying to interrupt a conversation like this one. But that's ancient history. Okay. So you're curious about them. I'm curious about them. You did me a solid last time we spoke and met. And since this is obviously not about what I do to make rent, what are you looking to do? What do you really want to happen from this? You came to speak to me. Obviously, you were curious.
Well,
To be honest,
at this
I was
point,
curious too after getting a call back, which I wasn't expecting.
at this point, there's really no moving around it. And if you happen to do anything silly, I have Aiden here, so it's not a huge deal.
No,
we-
I don't plan on doing anything silly. But I also
Right.
have friends. And you hear a rustle up in the tree, up above. And it's not even requiring a roll. As you look up, you see a raccoon is perched on one of the tree branches, and they are one of the fattest raccoons that you have ever seen, to the point that looking up, you can see that the tree branch that they're on is sagging pretty dramatically, and that they are constantly having to like double step to make sure that they're secure on the branch.
Okay, sure. We want information on Bateman and his possible associates because they are dangerous to us.
And how do you know that I won't just go tell them?
You already said that they wouldn't work with you if you wanted them to, and that you aren't wanting them to know that you're here.
Could be my ticket in, though. Knowing that there are a couple of werewolves in the city, checking them out. Why me? I'm nobody.
You were nobody until we had similar interests, and I started asking you questions, and you got too curious, and now here we are. So that's kind of how this conversation has drawn forward. But are you planning on going to talk to them? Because I'm sure they know we're here. It's just a matter of how close we've gotten.
No, I'm not planning on telling them. It doesn't benefit me in any way, and like Aiden so cleverly reminded me, it wouldn't do me any good anyway.
Would I insight that with my specialty detect lies, just in case?
Yeah, go ahead. Wits and insight, plus your specialty.
That is 3 again.
He does not appear to be lying in any capacity. In fact, he knows that he is very much backed into a corner, and that a lot of the bravado you're seeing is very, very shaky and false. He, in fact, feels kind of on his heels about this whole situation, but is trying to show brave face so it's not to just be gobbled up in this conversation.
But it seems you know things about them, or have alluded to knowing things about them. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. I know things.
Okay, so let's start with honesty. Why are you so interested in that building and that art company specifically?
They took something from me, something I can never get back.
What would that be?
My freedom.
What do they have on you?
It's nothing that they have on me. It's just something that I wasn't given a choice. I know this is a unusual concept, but it's an experience I hope you'll never have to look your murderer in the face. Unfortunately, I had to have it, and I dealt with it as best as I could. And I thought after dealing with it, I could maybe get that thing back, that thing that I needed, that thing that I wanted. The choice. I thought I'd get the choice back, but I didn't. I'm stuck like this. So now, I want to make the ones who murdered me pay.
By killing them once and for all? Is it a vengeance tactic that we have?
Sure, you could call it that.
But the ultimate goal is to kill the ones who took away your freedom, yes?
Yes.
Well, it seems our goals align in ways. Because we'd like to kill the ones who took some very important things away from us as well.
And after you have, then what?
Well, I think I can make the executive decision that we go our separate ways as long as we both promise not to bother each other unless each other get in our business.
Oh, I don't care about their politics. I don't care about their hatred of your kind. No, I was happy being left alone. It was lonely for a while, but then eventually I got used to it and made a way to thrive and survive. But the past caught up with me, and I need to make sure it won't catch up with me again. So, no. You help me with what I need to do, and I help you with what you need to do. And if it all goes well, you'll probably never see me again.
And that would be the hope.
Okay. I can play.
So, what do you have to offer?
depends on what you're already holding, doesn't it? Because I don't want to be sounding repetitive or unuseful. You must
Why don't-
want something specifically.
Why
could
don't
just
you
start-
pretend like we're stupid and we know nothing about any of them or any of the things that are happening within that building? And we'll go from there.
Wish I'd done more book learning. I had a terrible teacher. Okay. Well, they aren't. They can't do what I can do, mostly because they're afraid of what I can do. They are like what you read in books, for the most part, except they wrote the books, so they threw in a lot of false leads on that side. Most of the people that you see working at the building work for them, without question. How in the know they are varies. I'm pretty sure your basic doorman or street thug isn't going to know much. They just know what they're supposed to do, and to do it by any means necessary, and who to report to. Now, you were right. They do know you're here. I have no doubt about that. Which is why I didn't go in the building. Sorry, Aiden. But every inch of that building is something that they control. Just like almost every inch of this city is something that they control in some way or another, whether it's distant or near. But if you're looking for any help from the police, if you're looking for any help from the government, if you're looking for any help from any of the muckety mucks in this town, you're not going to find it. Because however you line their pockets, whatever promises you whisper into their ears, it's going to fall on deaf ears, because they've been promised something more and they've been lined quite well. This city is controlled by someone whose name even I don't know. You mentioned Bateman. Yeah, he's one of the muckety mucks, the head of a family, so to speak, kind of like a mafia movie. He stands on top of that particular family, but there are a lot of families in this city. All of them with their own interests, all of them with their own influence. And when they have to, they work together. But only when they have to. They would as soon turn on each other as they would work together. But when a unified threat shows up, whether it's hunters, vampire hunters, and I'm not talking Buffy here, I'm talking, more of your Van Helsing types. Whether it's... I'm assuming you have a special word. I can't call you the word that I would call you, so I'm just going to skip over it. Whatever you are. Whatever fancy high term that you're calling yourselves, because we know the derogatory. They will unite against you, or at least feign to unite to allow one of them to move up in rank or take some sort of extra piece of land. Their fancy word, and I'm breaking so many rules by doing this, but like I give a shit, is kindred. That's what they call themselves. I'm sure you know them as vampires, bloodsuckers, whatever kind of other derogatory.
Leeches.
Oh, that's a good one. Haven't heard that one before. That's their word. I always thought it was a little too posh. Let's just be honest. But that's what they call themselves.
Who are you
And
going after?
one of the families, particularly the Flowers, why I'm
In a
so
family
interested in the art.
Flowers?
Yeah. Yeah, they love flowers. They love all things pretty. Music, art, even conversation. They were the ones that hurt me. So they have to pay. I don't really care about the rest, but really the rest are all one in a way. They all work for, I guess, what you would consider the vampire mafia. It's kind of one big organization.
Okay. Any particular person? Because if we're, helping each other here, is there a particular person you're looking into, or see that as it goes?
There is a particular person, but I think I'm going to keep that one close to the vest for now because I'd really rather be the one to make sure that they are gone personally.
Okay,
Sure, you don't take any offense to that.
not at all. I'm not going to keep mine close to the chest. If there's a particular family that likes to rip arms and faces off, is there a particular family for that?
There's a few of them. But if they like to do so in an anti authoritarian, no holds barred kind of way, yeah, there is.
Any that you know by the name of Bloody Mary?
Ooh, you're going big. You're not going for small fish, you're going for big fish. That's why I don't hang out on this side during the night. Yeah, I know her. Well, mostly stories. If I ever had to, stand across from her, I'd shit my pants. But you are going. You're batting for the bleachers. That's a tough get.
Well, she had a particular interest in our downfall in the past, so we'd like to return the favor. So any information could help with when it comes to that. Also, any information you have on Bateman as well. That's more of a personal vendetta on my side for me and a friend of mine. That'd be great as well.
I don't have a lot on them specifically. Mostly stories, secondhand stuff. But I can get more. And if you are honest and amenable to a exchange of information, yeah, I could help you. I am, however, of humble means, so my access requires a bit more resources than I usually have access to. So if you have the means, I have the method.
Could you not speak in riddles and just tell me what you need, please?
Money. I need money. You
Good.
don't really have
Okay.
anything else to offer these types.
Well,
Nothing
you
of-
said something about being a wizard, so I didn't know if you needed weird alchemy tools. Okay, so money it is. How much?
It's going to be a case by case basis, but if you got $1,000 to start, that's a good opening bid. Not for me, though I will take my cut. No, I need to convince them to talk. And money talks, because even though vampires seem like they'd all be rich, a lot of them are broke. Like me. And if they don't have to go get a day job, not that they could, all the better.
All right, how about we do this? I'll get back to you in let's say a week.
Yeah, this number should be good for about another week. I'm going to have to ditch it at some point, but I'll get another one and I'll make sure you have it. Where can I leave correspondence for you?
You can leave it. There's a table at Lettuce Lake next to where you can rent kayaks. You can leave it there.
Okay. I can do that. You see a raccoon, and he looks up, dropping off the message, don't fret. And don't eat him. I don't know if that's a thing you guys do, but I like this one.
It is a
Oh.
thing.
I don't eat raccoons. That's not
They're pretty
something
good.
I'm.
Well, don't
Just a
eat
little
this
fat.
one.
That one seems like it would be pretty gristly. It's probably not something you're looking for, Aiden.
No. I'm hungry though.
Well, we've got tacos waiting. So.
Well, then I won't take up too much of your time. Figure out if you can get the money. And we'll do business.
Sounds good. I'll be seeing you soon, Mr. Spud.
Spud. Aspen, Aiden. Be safe out there. And don't linger down here too long. Sun starts to get low and things get hairy.
That
I've got a
weird
long
joke?
journey ahead of me myself. Oh, no, not at all. Dangerous. They get dangerous. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I forgot who I was talking to.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for indulging us, and I am looking forward to our correspondence in the future.
Me too.
As we leave, as we're kind of moving away, I would like to do Sense the True Form that we get as a pack through Star.
Okay. So go ahead and explain what that does and what the role is.
Yes, I have to pull it up because I don't have the one written down.
Making your way across the street. Heading over to the taco stand. Artie's already standing there with a couple of to-go containers of tacos. Mostly several hard-shelled in one container, several soft-shelled in another. And he offers out the hard-shelled to Aiden.
Thank you.
Looking back over your shoulder, Aspen reaches out to the spirits, beckoning for the aid granted by Star, who, despite the time of day, always shines down upon Gaia, always can be felt and be seen by members of this particular pack because of the bond that they've forged, because of the attachment as a patron to a pack. Go ahead.
Yes. So, specifically, what the gift does is a guru can sniff and smell different supernaturals. It is a pool of wits and wisdom, and it is one willpower.
Okay. So as you focus your will, pushing yourself, pushing your senses outward in the direction of Spud, who lingers behind, still staying within that park, go ahead and make the roll.
Okay, so that would be 3.
3 successes. There's a lot of intrusive smells to be had in a downtown area. The smell of oil, the smell of exhaust, even the smell from the taco stand is pretty profound in this area. But you focus, trying to tune out all of those other smells, all of those other senses on Spud. And you smell death and decay. It's faint, fainter than most. If you were to smell a vampire using these senses, it'd be like smelling an autopsy in progress. But this smells as if it just brushed past death. It's a faint whiff, but it is still very distinctly the whiff of vampire. And as you are tuning into those senses, you see a Zippo light on the other side and lift up to the cigar, which is now sticking out of Spud's mouth. And that scent is almost immediately interrupted by the smell of cigar smoke, which masks your ability to detect much more. And also, in a cloud, masks his very appearance over on the park bench, making it hazy and foggy and really hard to detect exactly where he's sitting. Eventually, this moving cloud rises up off of the bench and starts to make its way away down a side street nearby until it's out of sight. With the tacos in hand and information gained, you start making your way back to the car. Do you have any other intentions or anything else you'd like to say before we transition to our next scene?
I do want to turn to Artie and Aiden. This is going to be hard to explain to everyone later.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
I think it's a good plan, and we wanted someone to be inside, not necessarily inside, but they have information. So,
What happened? I saw your look, and I was trying to listen in as best as possible, but I couldn't hear anything.
We met a very interesting, leech, and it was an interesting conversation, and we may have mutual goals that will benefit us, but also could cause a lot of issues if he decides that he wants to betray us at any point. So, and so that's long story short. So I'm gonna let that ruminate in your brain for a little bit.
Okay. Well, this is gonna make things a little more complicated, it seems, but at least we know more than we did when we got here.
yeah. Yeah, he's after the Flower family.
But like
I don't know.
gardeners?
I don't know. Apparently, they've wronged him, so his freedom got stolen by a flower.
I'll explain more on the way home.
All right. You make your way to the parking garage, getting in the same elevator, taking it up to the 5th floor where you parked, exiting out into the garage. You make your way over to Regina, climb in, and begin your drive out. And that's where we're going to go to break for a quick 5 to 7 minutes. Enjoy some artwork from our community, and we'll be back really, really soon. See you in a few minutes.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors: Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Bear the Bard, Champs Tramps, Panchi Artista, and Chromatic Creations US. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You can find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow SPbN on all socials with the hashtag StPByNight. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at ko-fi.com/StPByNight to help keep the stories rolling.
And we are back. We hope everybody had a good break in the first half. A lot happened a lot was uncovered, a lot of discoveries were made. The pack potentially gained a new ally after a conversation with Spud in downtown Tampa. But trust is a very fickle thing. It's something that's built, it's something that's strengthened over time, and sometimes the pack needs to ensure that the trust amongst one another is solid before they can really pursue solid trust outside of the pack. So Lucas and Jester, in an attempt to forge some trust of their own and have a conversation, have decided to get together for a bit of a spar, a little bit of training. Tonight, or I should say today, on this particular late afternoon, early evening, they found themselves in the trailer park belonging, or I should say the residence of Eliza Ross, the stargazer theurge, belongs. So pulling up to the training area, Jester on her motorcycle, Shaw in his truck. You're parked outside of the trailer itself, which is still a little rough around the edges, especially this being your first visit, Lucas. You can see that this has gone through better days, but it looks like it is actually on the mend, on its way back. You can see new shutters, new storm shutters have been installed near the windows of this trailer, which is at the very end, the very back of the trailer park itself, which has a kind of overgrown grass field beyond it. It doesn't butt up against any other buildings or any other units. And Jester, you would know that out back of the trailer would be a pretty safe place for a spar, seeing as you might not want to spend too much time on the cairn grounds, especially in such an activity. And you are still getting to know Lucas, and so it's better to do so with perhaps a little bit of oversight. So as you both climb out of your vehicles, the scene is yours to start.
Is there any open dirt around the trailer? Like a clear spot?
There doesn't seem to be any in front or alongside of the trailer, as it is, facing several other trailers that line this, broken concrete street that goes down between them, but you could assume around back of the trailer there would be, yes.
Lucas will dig around in the back of his truck, opening up one of the work boxes, and he'll take out a little baggie, and then reach in the cab and grab a bottle of water, and then grab a large duffel bag and kind of toss it over his shoulder as he's digging through. It hits the ground, and you hear wooden rattling inside of it.
Jester will climb off the bike. She has double bag slung along like her shoulders, but she will reach in a small bag or a saddle bag and pull out a pack of beer and a water bottle and a bag of tacos.
Lucas will turn around and look at her, look at the beer.
It's not for me.
It would have been perfect, but fair.
We can have it after.
That's fair. No need for you to bring your clave. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay.
He'll grab the bag and kind of look at Jester for a second, and then reach back inside the truck and grab a hat out of the truck, and he'll throw that hat on. All right. I'm ready.
All right. She'll first walk to the front door and knock on it, set the tacos and the beer. We're going to be out back, she'll call. And then, come on, let's head around back.
Lead the way.
Making your way around the side of the trailer, you pass by, Jester, the window that was once shattered when the constellation globe was thrown out through it, but it looks like the window is now replaced fully. It looks like all the damage that has been done has been removed and cleaned up. And as you pass along to the back of the trailer, this is actually where you spot Eliza. She seems to be hard at work herself, taking advantage of the hours before dark, and from what you can see, it looks like she is constructing a garden bed off to one side, that a lot of the grass has been cut off, the dirt has been tilled, there's even some bags of dirt stacked off to one side, as well as several 2x4s that are lining the side that she's been using to construct a box around a certain given area. And as she's working, she turns and hears you coming, and a smile kind of wrinkles her features and breaks out across her face. Jester. Lucas. Evening.
Evening.
Ma'am.
New
Sorry,
project?
I didn't hear you come. Oh. Old project made new again. What can I do for you?
Lucas will hold out the little bag. Why don't you go ahead and add this to the collection?
She accepts the bag, and she holds it in her hand for a moment and stares at it. Then looks at you, and her face is still. But then after a moment clutches the bag. Fellow Green Tomasi.
That's oleander, so you be careful with that.
I know a thing or two. But yes, I appreciate the warning. What can I do for you both?
Well, would you mind if we practiced here? Lucas is going to teach me a few tips about claves.
Absolutely. There's a good patch back there. I haven't started tilling it yet, so it's all yours. Maybe if nothing else, you'll beat down the ground a little bit.
Thank you. Also, I brought beer and tacos. They're around the front. I thought you were inside.
Appreciate it as always, Jester. I'll go pick those up. She takes a shovel and stamps it into the dirt, and then wipes off her hands, pulls off some gardening gloves, and sets them off to the side before she smiles and starts making her way around the trailer to the front.
Lucas will head over to the empty area, and he'll open the bag. And the first thing he takes out is a baseball glove. And then he takes out a bat and sets that down, and then just starts tossing balls on the ground. He looks up at Jester and motions towards the bat.
Is there a lot of balls you got? She'll pick up the baseball bat.
You have no idea. We're going to check your form first.
Okay.
He'll walk a distance away, but not far enough that he can't talk. So, tell me the story.
What story do you want to hear?
We're here for claves, so how'd it get in your hands?
Freddie gave it to me before he died. We were breaking into the prison to get my friends out after Bateman put them there, blaming us for the explosion that happened at Duke Energy. I'll pick up the bat and assume a form of ready to swing.
Give me a composure and athletics roll, as strange as that may sound, as you try to find the proper place, but also to have the confidence to take that stance. Even though baseball, while all of us might dabble in it at a time or two when we're younger, it's not like riding a bike necessarily. It's a trained art that athletes have to work at diligently for most of their lives, especially in their youth and in their teens and 20s, to actually take any kind of skill in. 3 successes. Finding a position, finding a stance, giving the bat a couple of casual swings. You assume a stance, and Lucas, while it's not perfect, it's not the worst you've seen for sure, and it could work.
Kind of stare down for a moment, and then he'll wind up and send one in. Not too fast, but still tricky to hit.
Okay. Give me a dexterity in athletics versus strength in athletics.
Am I strength in athletics?
Yes, you are strength in athletics.
Okay.
So as you pitch the ball, it sails in a good straight arc directly towards what would be considered the plate of sorts. And as it sails past, Jester gives a good meaty swing and connects with the ball, sending a pretty good ground ball off past you further into the field beyond.
Lucas
So-
will
Go
nod
ahead.
and kind of cross his arms. Okay.
So I can go into more detail on this story, but I have a question for you first.
Back and forth is perfectly logical.
You heard what Aspen said. We're pretty much in an active war zone. Why are you staying?
Yeah, I could leave. I suppose that's the smart thing to do. Undermanned, underpowered. But a person like me, I feel like that's exactly where I belong. Am I saying you guys are capable without me? Maybe not. Remains to be seen. But truth is, I got brought here for a reason. I got visited, got told to come here, came here, did a thing. I don't think the reason I was brought here was to just fight some Banes and move on.
Help build a cairn?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Kind of hard to beat that one. That's going to go on the list. I think, like you, because your reputation does precede you. You know that, right? Like you, I think this pack needs people that are going to do things that others are scared to do.
You know, I didn't create that explosion, right? Ryder did. I just got blamed for it.
Reputation's reputation, right?
I suppose it's usually, you know, depends on if it's earned or not. I'm not sure it's earned for me.
Earned is a funny thing, right? It is. Because the only person that knows whether you earned it or not is you.
I suppose.
He'll just take a step back and send another one in.
Let's do another dexterity in athletics versus strength in athletics. This time the ball whizzes past Jester. She doesn't even get a piece of it as she swings. It just sails past into the grass beyond.
Damn it. Okay, what'd I do wrong?
You're leading with your left.
All right.
Lead with your hips, not your feet. I know this feels like he's gonna do something, but it's so much more simple than that when it comes to these things that we carry, right? It's about accuracy. Because you know what they're meant for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, carrying one, it's not an honor, right? Your friend didn't pass on a great legacy to you. He didn't hand you a thing that marked you as a great future hero. He gave you something to murder other Guru with. That's it. People that carry these, that's what we do.
He might have thought differently. He got it. He got it from the former SEP leader before him, BlackRock. After BlackRock basically made him leave when they were fighting Mary the first time.
They all have stories. Every one of them. So what's going to be the story for yours?
I guess that's still yet to be determined.
What do you want to do with it?
Something I don't even know if it's possible. Take Mary's head.
I think something sharp enough definitely could manage that. So I'll make you a promise. If we get into that situation, you've got more history with her than I do. That's your kill.
Thanks. Funny thing is, I don't even know. It's not really even my history as much. A little bit.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
He'll take a step back and send another one in.
Okay. Roll me a dex and athletics. This time, Jester, I want you to roll me a strength and melee. As a bat, when used as a weapon, resorts to melee. When used for sport, it could be considered athletics, but as you think of Bloody Mary and that frustration over that last matched or that last missed pitch starts to well up inside of you, you tighten your grip on the bat a little more and stop viewing this as a game, but viewing this as a test, a trial. Because even though, even just a month or so ago, you didn't know Lucas from Adam, he's been asking some very pointed questions. And that pride of carrying the clave in some way, that legacy that you feel when you hold it, may have been called into question ever so slightly in this instance. So as the ball sails towards you, Lucas?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Just asking, but I think it's going to be a no. My specialty with clave cannot be used here, right?
Cannot be used here.
Okay.
You are using a bat.
Right. Thought I'd ask.
Clave might have a wider blade at a certain point or have a different dimension. Definitely a different weight and feel when swinging it. So it wouldn't apply in this particular instance.
I'm going to spend a willpower. I got 3 successes.
So this time again, you feel the bat make contact with the ball, and another good ground ball sails past you, Lucas.
It's a good hit.
She was in the prison. We'd come across 2 guards with guns right outside of the solitary confinement my friends were in. And the gunshots went off, so everyone was alerted, at least in that area. And there she came. And he locked me in solitary confinement while he faced her alone. And I had a choice, I guess, try to stop them or break down the wall and try to get the people we came for out. I chose to get them out and come back for him. Except when I turned around, he was already outside with large piece of the clave in him, and he was missing an arm. He didn't make it off the road alive.
Do you feel like you made the right choice? Do you think you could have made a difference?
No. I think she would have killed me.
I think she would have killed you too.
I'm not half the fighter Ryder was.
That puts it into context for me. Why do you think that he did that? Let
There's
me
no.
ask more specifically. Do you think that he considered you a liability? And that's why he did it?
No. I know why he did it. Earlier that night, I hadn't even thought about going to the prison. That was his idea. Aspen was really mad at me afterwards. But I'd gone to see him to try to make a peace. And I told him I would be okay with him. Things would be straight with us if he taught me. And if he sought a way to get over the hog loss, to find a way to get better. He chose that as his way.
Okay. To make you angry?
No. Never angry, really. Sad. But I'm better now.
Lucas will take his glove off and turn around, and he'll rub the ball, and then he'll look over his shoulder, kind of side-eyed at Jester, and I'm going to use Fatal Flaw.
Okay. Go ahead and describe what that does and what the role is.
So Fatal Flaw allows me to sense innately what a weakness is in a prey. So that is going to be my intelligence plus glory versus Jester's composure plus subterfuge. And if I succeed, I would either A, learn a new source of aggravated damage on the target, or just get +1 to damage.
And is there a cost associated with it?
1 willpower.
Okay. So as you study Jester, study her stance, try to recall the previous hits and misses, you focus and exert your will into study. Go ahead and make the rolls again.
Composure and subterfuge, you said? Okay. I get 2.
Okay. So you can see that you were right. She does lead with her left a significant deal. She also hesitates with her swing on certain swings, as if she doesn't have enough follow through behind it, or if she's questioning that she's swinging at the right time. The timing seems a little bit off. But you know, and you can tell, that if you cause her to miss enough times, she will overcompensate and overcommit. That she will stop pulling her swings and instead follow through maybe a little too much. That she'll go a little too hard at the ball and her frustration will rise, which will cause her accuracy to fall. So you can take a +1 on the next throw of dexterity and athletics. Jester, I want another strength and melee.
Okay.
I'm going to put this one right at her.
At her body.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to spend another willpower.
Okay. So as the ball sails, Jester, you prepare, but then your eyes trace it as it goes off of the given track where you thought it was going. And as you try to bring up the bat, more to defend yourself than to swing properly at the ball sails underneath and hits you in the side, doing 1 aggravated health damage. As you feel it crack into your side and you feel your ribs strain ever so slightly, go ahead and take a point of rage as the ball makes contact.
son of a bitch.
Lucas will put his arms out. It's just baseball.
You are just as annoying as Ryder.
What I'm confused about is that you're just sad? That's the answer you're going to give me? You're not mad at all.
I'm mad about a lot of things.
But not that.
Not that.
Do you think Ryder would have been mad?
Oh, yeah.
Lucas, roll me a composure and resolve check.
So what happens if we are outnumbered? And Aspen makes the decision to stay and fight. Will you stay?
Oh. No. Absolutely not. And for one reason, and I can tell you exactly what that reason is, and it's an easy decision. She's the alpha. I'm not going to stop in the middle of that thing and challenge her decision as an alpha because the alpha can't be challenged in a time of war. At least that's the old rules. Some people say, fuck the old rules. It is what it is. But if she made the decision, if she decided that we all had to leave and she was going to hold the line, I'd make
No.
sure every one of you got out of there.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant if she decided that we stayed. All of us. Would you stay or would you leave?
And we're outnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a bad decision to me.
Maybe it is. Would you follow it?
I think it is my duty as who I am and what I am to question that decision.
Okay. But that didn't answer my question.
Lucas, as you're mulling over your answer, ready for a retort of some kind, you feel the tingling starting at the base of your spine, working its way up. Now, because of your 5 successes on that composure check, no one else can tell that you're feeling it. You maintain a good posture, a good poise, but you definitely feel the crawling up your back, like little pinpricks, almost like tiny paws or nails climbing up your back, getting up towards the base of your back, nearing your shoulder. But you may continue the conversation as if nothing's happening.
Okay, I'll give you the answer from 2 different sides. I'll give you the Shadow Fang or the Shadow Lord answer and the Silver Fang answer. Silver Fang answer is I would do my duty. And I would follow my alpha. The Shadow Lord answer is not every question is as easy as black and white, and not every scenario is as nuanced as yes and no. So given the scenario, I would assess the situation and either find another way or leave. What about you?
I was also called here a few years ago. Yeah, I'd probably stay.
As
He'll
you're
take a
locked,
step back.
go ahead.
Oh, and deliver another pitch.
Okay, give me a dexterity and athletics versus strength and melee.
I'm gonna use Raging Strike.
Okay. And go ahead and describe what that does and what it costs.
Spend a rage check, which I made, and it will give me my glory, which is 2, in extra dice for an attack roll.
Okay, so you can add those 2 extra dice to your swing.
Six with a crit.
This ball is a rocket. As it strikes the bat, the sound of the wood hitting the ball itself crackles, almost like the fireworks that have been heard over the last few days and nights throughout the city. The ball rockets its way in a straight or a diagonal arc up over your head, Lucas. A straight shot that you know as a baseball fan would be out to middle the center field area, but it goes further and further and further. And were this a traditional baseball field, it would be not just into the bleachers, but likely over them, possibly even exiting the stadium itself. That ball is going to be hard to find when it's cleanup time. It is way, way out there. Looking after the ball as it's gone, Eliza's voice breaks the silence. That a girl, Jester? And you hear the unfolding of a lawn chair as she goes and pulls out a lawn chair and whips it out right next to the garden box and sits down, having the beer and the tacos nearby. She pops open one of the cans with that sharp hissing sound. And for a moment, Lucas, the sound of the hissing can makes you twitch a little bit. Just a little bit. Not enough that anybody else detects it. But it is a familiar sound to what you know is crawling up your spine as we speak.
He'll turn and put his hands on his hips and just watch the ball sail away, and then just kind of shake his head and turn back around.
I guess I owe you a baseball.
I'm probably a bat too, by the sounds of it. We got to get you on a roster. Any roster. You're gonna break some glass ceilings. This is gonna be great. Good hit. You felt that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's where you have to be. Every time you swing that thing, it's made for us, right? We're not creatures of sunshine and unicorns and rainbows. We're angry sons of bitches, every one of us. So you have to put that behind every hit. You're never going to get that head off of her body.
Fair. I have one request. If it comes to it, tell us first. Don't just abandon us.
You guys think I'm going to run away? It's only the second person to ask me that question. What is it about it?
Half the Karen left last time.
Yeah, well, they left after we made this Karen back to what it was, and I'm still here.
No, half the Karen left 10 years ago. In the middle of trying to save themselves.
Well, I'm not 10 years ago. Let's
Good.
be straight. I'm going to do some stuff that's going to piss you off. I've pissed you off today, but, I mean, that was intentional. I'm sure you picked up on that. I'm definitely not anybody's best friend.
Eliza is sitting kind of sullenly as Jester recounts the story of a decade previous. But she takes a drink from the beer and drinks and drinks and drinks until the can is empty, which she sets down beside her, and then she pushes herself up with a grunt from the lawn chair and says, So, Mr. Shaw, do you always do the pitching? Or do you think you could take a couple slices yourself? It's been a while since I played me a good game.
I got more bats.
Do you mind, Jester?
Oh no, I could use a beer.
Help yourself, darling.
Thanks.
She shuffles her way across the grass, taking the place where Lucas once stood. Lucas, you go and grab another bat out of the bag and position yourself, taking your stance, which you have done many, many times before. It doesn't even require a roll for you to get into the right stance. Eliza rolls the ball between her hands and even fumbles and drops it to the ground and leans over and picks it up and goes, "You go easy on me now, you hear?"
Yes, ma'am.
The first few throws are clumsy at best, easy to say the least. You hit one after another, and as you do so, your confidence swells, your pride swells a little bit. Like, maybe there's a little bit of pity, but really you like showing off. And Jester, you're seeing him cranking balls left and right, just sending them sailing out into the field beyond, not nearly as far as yours from your big swing, but definitely outpacing all of your little ground balls that you had early on. Lucas, as that pride swells, so too does the tingling. As you feel it come up onto your shoulder. Oh, this old woman. Are you playing her, or is she demeaning you?
I'm gonna pretend like I didn't hear anything.
She throws a few more. You hit a few more. This is a waste of time, Lucas. We have an arrangement, and I am being as patient as I can be.
I'll take a step back, like I'm stepping out of the batter box, and give a few swings, kind of turning myself where I'm not facing either of them. I know. We're gonna get there.
Touching stories are all well and good. But you're not good, Lucas. No matter what you would have them think.
I'll take a step back into the batter's box and go back to being ready.
This time I'd like you to make the swing of melee and strength. However, I'd like you to do it at a -2, as your brain is now separated, distracted, to say the very least. You prepare to line up for another lofty, almost underhanded pitch, as if this were softball more than baseball. And you hear the voice once more say, "We don't ask, we..." And it's cut off as a rocket of a pitch slams into the very same shoulder where you feel the tingling, where you hear the voice coming from. And the tingling voice gives almost a yelp as the ball strikes your shoulder, sending you reeling backwards, doing 2 points of superficial damage. Nothing aggravated, but 2 points of superficial as it hits you. And Eliza kind of shrugs her shoulders. Guess there's some use in this old thing still. Sorry about that, Lucas. My aim was just atrocious.
He'll start windmilling his arm, just trying to work out the numbness of the hit. Yeah, it's a wild pitch. It's fine. That's an arm. That's a hell of an arm.
Well, I did play for the girls' team in Savannah, but I always felt like I was more suited for the boys. But it wasn't the times for that.
I gotta get both of you on a roster.
Oh, darling. I'm retired, don't you see?
We'll find a beer league. Right? Beer league?
Speaking of beer, it's getting a little hot out here. She starts fanning herself with her hand as she starts making her way back over to the chair. As she turns her back to Lucas and could just see Jester, she gives a wink as she approaches the folding chair and leans down and helps herself to another one of the beers.
You're not as bad off as I thought. Next time we'll do it for real.
Okay.
With that, we'll transition to our final scene of the evening. In a conference room, high atop 100 North Tampa, we find the offices of Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman once more. Bateman sits behind the desk, doing his usual work, working with a quill pen as he fills out yet another piece of legal paperwork, one of many that many law firms go through. This time, the door doesn't open. Nobody arrives. Instead, out of the shadows coalesce a figure who takes form. They are, in a word, disgusting from head to toe. Horrors beyond imagination. Their face a disfigured and mangled mess. Except they have done the courtesy of wearing a mask covering the lower half of their face, making their voice a little bit more muffled. Long, pointed ears stick out from either side of the head, though one of the ears is notched severely, taking the point off almost entirely. As they loom closer, they wear a similar style business suit, refined and well-tailored. In their hand, they hold several pieces of paper, which, as they approach the desk, they slide across saying, "The daily briefings." Bateman casually looks over to the papers and then nods his head. "Thank you, Masterson." "Of course. Anything for the prince. Just doing my duty. Speaking of which, I believe I'm owed something. My little pet project. You know the one. How are they doing?" "They've been doing quite well, but I'm not done with them yet. Our arrangement was, when I was done, they would be yours." "Of course. I'm in no rush. We have forever, after all, don't we?" "Seems that we do. Although it's time for some escalation. It's time for a change. Wouldn't you agree?" "I've seen many changes, Bateman. What's one more? One more indeed. And that is where our session will come to a close. Thank you so much to these incredible players. Thank you to everybody who stuck with us. I know that first half was very, very long, but I think it was totally worth every single second. This week on the St. Pete by Night Twitch channel, we have, well, let's see, it's Tuesday. So on Thursday, we have Don't Get Caught. On Friday, we have What the Hell Is That? Our Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle. On Saturday, we have another amazing After Dark, and our guests this week will be the Blank Bodies podcast. So if you have not listened to that podcast before, go listen to it. If you didn't catch our last After Dark, we had Rachel J. Wilkinson, the creator of Port Saga. So go back and listen to that one. Like, seriously, it was so worth it. And also go check out Port Saga. I am addicted to it right now. I'm listening to it almost every day. So you should take a chance and go listen. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have Bloody Strings. And join us back here on next Tuesday for another Rage Across Tampa. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all the social media listed down below. Go follow these incredible players. I promise you, it is absolutely worth the follow. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Rage Across Tampa is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. The storyteller for Rage Across Tampa is Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Preston, Champ, Noree, and Weiss. Visit our website at stpetbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become a part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.